Alright, we have some catching up to do here on the Green Devotion deck. In some recent updates since the last time I've covered this build, there are a few new cards that we're running in this deck. So Outcaster Trailblazer comes from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. This is actually a really cool card that works in synergy with Kiora Behemoth Beckoner, which basically the synergy here is that they both care about creatures with power 4 or greater, and it itself is a power 4 or greater creature, which is pretty nice. This is a really interesting card and kind of changes the play pattern of this Green Devotion deck because when it enters, it's able to add mana, and because it has the plot mechanic, you can basically save up that extra mana by paying 3 on some prior turn. So if you need to curve into, say, Cavalier of Thorns or Storm the Festival on turn 4, 5, or 6, well, your Outcaster Trailblazer can be just chilling around, and then you plot cast it for free and then get your Cavalier in, which triggers the Outcaster, and you get a lot of value from it. So it's a pretty cool enabler for this specific deck. After that, we got Modern Horizons 3 and Fanatic of Ronus, which is a card that also, wouldn't you know, it cares about power 4 or greater creatures, so it slots into this deck pretty well. The fact that this thing can eternalize from the graveyard and come back as a 4/4 zombie token, that is pretty nice because it triggers all these other things that care about the 4s, and it itself will be able to fulfill its own ferocious cost, or its ferocious ability. Threshold, I think, is the word that I mean to say. And then, so after that, we finally got the last piece of the puzzle here, which is Birds of Paradise, staple of Magic for as long as I've been playing the game at the very least, especially in Commander, and now we have it on Arena. We're going to be bringing it into Timeless here, and it's going to be a pretty good one-drop. Having a flying blocker is pretty relevant when you have red decks with things like Slickshot Show-Off being pretty aggressive and something to worry about. Or just in general, you know, if they drop like an Emrakul or something like that, we have something that can get bowled over, but maybe save us for one turn. And then the rest of the deck, pretty simple. Delighted Halfling, Utopia Sprawl in the beginning going on over here. Utopia Sprawl is kind of relevant alongside our Planeswalkers, sorceries, instants, and stuff. Well, actually, we don't play any instants, but sorcery, creature, Planeswalker, enchantment, land helps us get our Shifting Woodland Delirium going, which is sometimes nice. This is typically something that we need in order to copy our win condition or do something like Cavalier of Thorns block so that we can get something onto the battlefield or get on something to the top of our library, things like this. And yeah. So this deck really revolves around abusing Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, which is going to be our green mana-producing source. We untap it with Kiora. We play more of them through Cavalier of Thorns just by drawing them as well, and Storm the Festival, which is something that's able to find that. This is a deck that once it hits that threshold can make pretty much infinite mana and then win through a number of ways. We have Karn plus a Karn board. This is going to have things like Haywire Might to remove important pieces, Pithing Needle in case there's a combo matchup and we need to turn off a Teferi or something. Stone of Reach is going to be something that disables sort of sacrifice, things like this, any graveyard abilities. It's not something that we're typically going to be able to find early, but if we're in a long game against a Reanimator deck, this is going to be a good one. Liquid Metal Coating is the default get here with Karn. You've seen it before. The One Ring, we're still playing it even in Historic where it's nerfed and costs mana to activate. It's just still that good, and mana doesn't really mean that much for us. Godpharaoh's Statue helps us against Storm. Historic Ruby Storm is not so bad. And there are other things that cast a lot of spells in one turn, like the mono, brown, or colorless artifact Storm decks. And then finally, Cityscape Leveler is a way to just target remove permanents. And so that's one way that we can win, is just slow Karn board items. And then the other thing that we can do is in this deck, well, okay, so I got to go back here and talk about how other decks used to win. Typically, it was just make a bunch of different things, and then you just had to attack it with your Cavaliers. There's been other innovations since then, but for this deck, I've done something that I personally like. And I'm not sure if this is something that other people do, but for me, my way of winning is Finale of Devastation into Ulvenwald Oddity, which can be transformed into a creature that gives all of my board a little bit of a improvement, and then they get Trample and Haste, so we're able to get through blockers. Finale of Devastation is basically going to serve as Craterhoof Behemoth here, because with enough mana, we can buff our board. So the idea is make a bunch of little guys, make a bunch of mana with Kiora and Nykthos and all these other things, and then Finale for Ulvenwald and win the game. So this is my updated green devotion list. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to like and comment on the video. Helps with the algorithm. And subscribe if you're new for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I'll top into some games and see how this deck can take on the historic format. Alright, it's round 1. Let's go. A lot of early mana here into a Storm the Festival. It's nice to have this in the opening hand. We can accelerate fast enough that I think I'm happy to keep this. Hallowed Fountain. As for Sentinel, we're probably more on the creature side of things then. Which means that we will be good on this Esper Sentinel. It'll be bad if they drop a Thalia or something similar to that. We'll hope to dodge. Darksteel Citadel, so probably just artifacts then. They have 2. Licensed Hearse, so our Storms of Festivals are going to be tough in the graveyard. We want to put out an effective blocker here. We'll hold the Nykthos until they, just to make sure that we redact a little bit of information where possible. Halfling comes out, meaning that the Sentinel is not likely to be able to attack. And here's Birds of Paradise. So we do have Storm the Festival next turn. We also could just Cavalier of Thorns, but that feeds Unlicensed Hearse quite a lot. So probably just Storm the Festival then, knowing that we won't be able to reuse it. So we'll have to be relatively aggressive. Portable Hole. Alright, well that means that it's going to be Cavalier time then. No blocks. We are happy to go to 18. So multiple Nykthos. Here's a Cavalier. Alright, Shifting Woodland comes out. Fanatic of Ronus in the graveyard, that'll get eaten by Unlicensed Hearse. This is going to be tough for our graveyard. Makes sense. Alright, so the Nykthoses are going to make a lot of mana now. Simulacrum Synthesizer, this is what I was worried about seeing. No good attacks here for them, that's nice. Okay, so this is huge for me. That has to take out Simulacrum Synthesizer. And before we do that, do I want to do anything else? Cavalier plus 3 mana, so I should be able to do both. Let's kill that. That is very important to not be here. They'll be able to find Hallowed Fountain off of it. Alright. And they will find Island, sure. So I think we just go Cavalier of Thorns again, then just set up for a big Storm the Festival turn where their Unlicensed Hearse won't be able to do much. Oh, they might have Metallic Rebuke here. Alright, can't pay the 3, that's unfortunate. I am punished for not having dropped that Nykthos this turn. Oh well, it's all good. We gotta attack while we can with the Cavalier. We are not necessarily going to be able to survive here. I'm glad they wasted the rebuke. Well, not really waste. It was a good rebuke. But I'm happy that that's out of their hand now. So now Storm the Festival should resolve. No blocks. So we have 8 mana to work with. More if we want to crack the other Nykthos. Moonsnare Prototype. Top or bottom of our library here. I'm happy to have it in hand, honestly. I'll recast this thing. Cavalier. We'll just take another turn of Cavalier. This does help me ramp. Shifting Woodland again, sure. That is 1 finale gone. We gotta... Ooh, was that 2 finales? No, just 1. Okay. And, yeah, so I gotta be careful about what I put into the graveyard here. Nykthos number 2 does not give me the other Storm in the Festival, so we pass. They'll eat my Storm and something else that's good. This Hearse, very, very strong for them right now, but they do not have anything else to work with, so... I think next turn I just need to be casting Storm of the Festival right away. Your Enforcer, not great to see, but sure. Ulvenwald Oddity, nice. So I think we go Storm the Festival here. We'll retain enough mana to drop our other Nykthos in case we get enough devotion here with it. I think we'll pay here. We're about to have a lot of mana. through 2. They're going to make a big creature. So we want this, and now is our time to get moving. Alright, another Nykthos, beautiful. This should be our combo turn. We'll keep the untapped Nykthos. We will draw a card. We have another land drop here. Let's make mana. We need to make sure that we are very good about this, because now we can cast Storm the Festival before Unlicensed Hearse can get rid of it. And I will probably go the Storm the Festival route. Alright, 6 mana floating still, more if we untap with Kiora. Unlicensed Hearse is still waiting for activation here. They're still thinking, not making any moves. All right, well, it looks like opponent's probably gone here. I'll go ahead and cut the recording and move to round 2. But that looks like a pretty good combo turn with mono green devotion. All right, here we go, next round. A 1-lander. It's definitely a little dangerous. However, with a land draw in our first 2 draws, that means that we get Kiora out on time. Assuming they don't remove a lot of our creatures, we can get into the Fanatic and then be okay. I'll keep it. Definitely a little dangerous here. This is an aggro deck. Good to know. All right. Oh, hello. We're going here. We will always choose green. Leonin Vanguard. Okay, so life gain, sure. We have to watch out for a Heliod, or not necessarily Heliod, but the anything that gets a +1/+1 counter on life gain. We do draw another land though, which is kind of big. Well, let's make a blocker here so we don't start taking this incremental damage. Force them to use some of that energy and make the Static Prison kind of a hard sell. They will pay, alright. Leonin Vanguard again, sure. Ocelot Pride, that's tough. Alright. There goes the combo. So with this, we can go... A Kiora untap can make this alright. So Utopia Sprawl on a land that I'll still have 3 mana for the Kiora. I can drop a Nykthos and then that's just sitting there. Outcaster Trailblazer is another one to think about, but I don't think I'm rocking that just yet. That can actually be a 1-mana ritual with the Fanatic of Ronus if it stays around, so I think I go like this. So make a mana. Utopia Sprawl on this. Want to choose green. Here's Kiora. Kiora probably wants to be untapping something, and then we'll go like this. No attacks. Alright. Static Prison, they're more than capable of paying for that. 2 cards in hand, Luris to buy. Voice of the Blessed is basically what I wanted to avoid them hitting. To be fair, it's pretty lucky that they didn't deploy it on turn 2. Big Voice of the Blessed here, but at least we'll be okay for now. Definitely Ascend. We are looking like we're in trouble. So let's see. With this Outcast Trailblazer, we can get more mana out of Fanatic of Ronus. Alright. We will make a green mana. Tap this guy for mana. We'll cast Storm the Festival. Alright, and we gotta try to go off here. So Fanatic of Ronus is nice. Karn is also nice. I think it's about time that we get a 1-ring pretty soon. Nykthos untap does give us some good mana. So let's untap the Nykthos. Karn. Actually, you know what? Untapping the Fanatic of Ronus would have been worth more mana. That's unfortunate. We can take something from the sideboard with Karn. We have 5 mana to work with. I mean, that really is just the One Ring. I suppose that's our play. I mean, Cityscape Leveler is kind of good for Voice of the Blessed, so maybe I just take that. Then I'm not really doing much with the remainder of my mana. Yeah, this is awkward. I think if I had cured the Fanatic of Ronus, I get to Storm the Festival again, and this looks much better. So I think now I go the One Ring. We're going to One Ring and just use it immediately. Alright, so we have protection. We're going to lose one of our Planeswalkers. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, that Voice going to take out Kiara. That does represent a lot of mana, but hopefully our next Storm the Festival will find another one of her. Voice of the Blessed is 9. So we're looking at a 2-turn clock once our protection wears off. And they actually pass back without attacking with Voice of the Blessed. That's a huge mistake. Let's make sure that we punish them for it. So we're going to go Fanatic, make 8 mana here. I think actually, you know what, this Karn Minus is pretty good. Let's Karn Minus for Cityscape Leveler. I don't know if I'm going to play it immediately. I think we want to Storm the Festival first and work up this Nykthos mana. So here's Storm. We find another Nykthos. That unfortunately doesn't work because I have not floated mana yet, and Legend Rule will apply first. So we're actually not going to take that. I think we'll go Utopia Sprawl here. Let's start to build up one of our lands. Choose green. So Ulvenwald Oddity is relevant here. That's nice. Let's see what we draw here first. Storm the Festival again. Let's continue. We'll use the Nykthos this time. And we are looking for Nykthos this turn. Did not find it. Ulvenwald Oddity is okay, but we don't really need another one of those. I think we want Outcaster to ramp a little bit, and then Shifting Woodland will be more ramp, I guess. Ulvenwald is actually better with Kiora, though. That's more ramp for choosing one card here. We draw a lot of cards here, 38 left in library. We're looking fine in that regard. One of these kind of just needs to be a Nykthos if we want to continue. Okay, a Kiora is effectively a Nykthos here, so we will go like this. Kiora, untap Nykthos. And then we can Storm. We're getting close to a finale here. They are actually pretty well equipped to block us here, so I think this is going to need to be a pass the turn kind of play. We'll keep this Kiora in hand then. I'll drop a Shifting Woodland. We're going to go Cityscape Leveler, kill Voice before this thing gets indestructible. Good. That's pretty important. And if we flip Ulvenwald Oddity, that could actually be pretty good. So I have access to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, down to 6 plus 11 is 17. That's 10 on Finale. Or sorry, that would be 12 on Finale and only 5, so we wouldn't be able to Ulvenwald Oddity. So yeah, like I said, just going to pass this turn, I think. Let's drop the Cavaliers now. And there's actually a Nykthos, so maybe we will go for this after all. We can keep this legendary permanent. Yeah, okay, we're just going to go for the kill here. So add mana, 14. We have Kiora number 2. Choose this one, minus. And now it's just about making sure that we click correctly. No more in hand, so we just make our mana. 25, 26, 27, 28. That means that minus 7 leaves me with 21, which means that I can go much higher than 10, but I'll just go to like 13. Arbitrary number there. Left with 11 mana here. We will search our library. And let's choose Cavalier of Thorns because we already have our Ulvenwalds. Yeah, I guess we can go more. because we do have haste. All right, cool. So that is going to be the game there. We were able to make this work. Found our Ulvenwald oddities just through the normal way of making things work, but this was way to give our things trample and haste if we needed them. It's notable that Finale of Devastation only gives us haste, so it's relevant that we have Ulvenwald oddities to give the trample. So after a little bit of gold fishing, we were able to make enough mana and go off this turn as opposed to going ahead and passing the turn. We got pretty lucky with dealing with the Voice of the Blessed right before it hit Indestructible with 10 counters. And I guess we were lucky in general that it didn't come out turn 2. So all in all, pretty decent game. Let's move on to the next round. All right, here we go. What does this opening hand have for us? The Finale is really not relevant here, but getting an early cure is kind of nice. Now, if we just draw any sort of payoff, we're pretty happy. I think overall this is nice, especially being on the play. This is one that I'm happy to keep. Let's do the Delighted Halfling, because if we are in a situation where we need to attack our block, it is better. Red-white, are we getting our things removed? Looks like they meant to pass the turn, but they're holding priority. Oh, no. Okay, I was wondering if they were holding priority on the Sunbaked Canyon, or if they plan to do something with it. So I can play 2 Birds of Paradise or a Kiora and a Birds of Paradise. Let's just get 2 birds out. They get to gain life. Let's attack through this. All right. Unstable Amulet, alright. Not really sure what we're playing against, but it looks red-white and like it plays a lot of creatures. Finale could be used in this situation. We have access to X equals 4. That's not... We don't really need to do that. We could even play Lair of the Hydra, go for X equals 3. Or, if we go Kiora first, we'll then have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. That will be Finale for X equals 2. That doesn't really get me anything good. So I think we'll just go for Finale for 3 here, and then attack in with the Delighted Halfling. And we want to make sure that the Birds of Paradise are the ones that pay. Now we've auto-paid correctly. We will search our library. And we'll find an Outcast Trailblazer. Get to make a mana here. Unfortunately, not going to matter for us. We will make a green mana. Going to attack here, letting our mana fade, and we'll attack in with the Halfling. Next turn, Lair of the Hydra starts to become relevant. And Outcast Trailblazer being looked at here. It will be removed here, so unfortunately my 5 mana play not so good. And will 2 things go? 2 things will go here. This will be Galvanic Discharge. In Historic, only giving 2 energy now on cast. Seems as though, despite nerfs to the energy core, it's doing quite alright. So this is just a simple play here. This. We are more or less just chilling. I don't need a blocker. We are fine. Alright, so as long as we can just find a payoff here and start to actually make use of all of our mana, this board state starts to open up for us. Unfortunately, that means that we have to be subject to RNG here and let that decide our fate. Fable the Mirror Breaker could be worse. And Cavalier of Thorns is going to be nice. Looking for a good land here. No lands, unfortunate, but Storm of the Festival will be in the graveyard. Fanatic of Ronus now taps for 4 mana. We are so very close to being able to cast Storm of the Festival. Darn, if only Lair of the Hydra was an untapped land. Looks like it's just going to be like this then. Birds of Paradise. And we are ready to go for the next turn. Alright. No attacks necessary. We block with Cavalier. If they combat trick us, we should be able to get something good back. Foundry, never good to see that shocked in. What do you play for 5 mana? It's a Flage. Flage takes out what? It's going to be at Kiora? Yes, it will be. Alright. She is not really the card that I'd be worried about, honestly. But she does represent another activation on Fanatic of Rona, so that makes sense. They can take out 2 of my birds here. I wonder if they'll want to. Should be no attacks. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's probably just Storm the Festival here. Outcast Trailblazer gives us some more mana, though. So let's do this. We'll go, boom. This is one that's not very punishing to play. They can sack their board to deal with this if they'd like. I will get this card draw regardless, though. Utopia Sprawl, not very consequential. Make a green. And then we have to untap our Fanatic of Ronis to be able to cast Storm. They are probably holding priority on Goblin Bombardment, and we get to cast Storm. So now they have to decide right now if they want to Goblin Bombardment me. They do not. So double Ulvenwald is probably pretty good. Nothing really to untap here, so just having 2 4/4 bodies is nice, and being able to redraw is great. Sure, they gain some life. It is what it is. We should be able to hit them down quite a bit here. Nykthos is huge. We can activate that this turn. Now we just need another payoff. Not going to be quite what we were looking for. This is still worth it to play, though. 13. So we go like this. And we go like, with our last 7 mana, other Ulvenwald. Beautiful. And this is not lethal, but getting close. Oh wait, no it is. Nice. Alright, cool. So I think we've gotten through here, and opponent agrees. We'll take round 3. Nice. Alright, 4th round. We have the Nykthos. The Trailblazer is in hand, which historically is a pretty decent card to keep, just because you can bank it in the plot zone for a while. This is going to be another situation similar to last game where we just have a lot of mana, and if we can draw right, these hands end up turning out fine. They also function very well against any sort of discard, so. Delighted Halfling. Utopia Sprawl notably doesn't have a target here until we draw a forest. Luckily, basic forests are plentiful in our deck. So Faithless Looting here, we might be looking at Graveyard. I'm not currently able to deal with Scholar of the Lost casting Breach the Multiverse. That's not great to see here. We do need an untapped land, so it's going to have to be the Nykthos then. Yeah, and then there's no forest, so actually the Trailblazer is just going to be a plot for now, and at the same time I could just play a Shifting Woodland and hold on the Nykthos. I don't really think so. I'm going to make sure that if I need to plot next turn, I can. Alright, let's see if Reanimate or I think it's Persist in this format comes out. It does not. That's good to see. Alright, a lot of things. So they have 2 attempts at a Scholar Reanimation. I don't think it can happen off 1 mana. Okay, that's good. I think they're looking for Persist here. Or any one of the 2 to 4 mana activations in order to bring something back. What'll it be? 3 off the top. Will they go to the graveyard or will they be kept? Alright. I took my eyes off the screen here. I don't believe I saw more cards go into the graveyard. Alright. So we have a Karn now. Unfortunately, we can't cast it unless we drop our Trailblazer this turn, I guess. We'll add a green. We'll play a Karn. We will show a liquid metal coating here. Sometimes that is enough to win in this format. And here's a Shifting Woodland. Alright, so they'll be stuck on 2 mana here for the rest of the game. Or stuck on 3 mana, rather. Unless they're able to counter the Liquid Metal, kill Karn, or do something like this. Alright, so Scholar off of the Persist. Breach the Multiverse coming down now, most likely, or Emergent Ultimatum is actually probably the better call here. Let's see what the choices are. Is it going to be something that my decision matters for? Typically with these Emergent Ultimatum decks, the game is over from this point, but we'll see how our opponent makes their choices here. I don't know if Ultimatum decks now are starting to be more value-based, or if they are going for those one-turn kill combos. Previously, it would be Omniscience, and then Peer into the Abyss, plus like an Ob Nixilis that kills the opponent. Lots of packages they could have here. They are taking a while on it, but that's what the ropes are for. I'm just curious to see how they kill me. Alright, so Mizzix's Mastery, Breach the Multiverse, or Persist. Pretty much no matter what I give them, it's bad. I guess I will leave them the Mizzix's Mastery. Well, so, okay, my thoughts are basically that Mizzix and Persist both use the graveyard. There is only one Breach the Multiverse in here, so I want to basically make sure that they don't have the second Breach. So I'm going to leave them the Breach. Or sorry, I'm going to take the Breach, leave them Mizzix, and Persist. Alright, there we go. So I think this means that they only get one good thing. Emergent Ultimatum will resolve. They have to decide what to cast here. Kind of taken a little bit with the UI, it seems. There's Mizzix that will target the Breach. Or, yeah, Breach the Multiverse, I think. And then I think they'll just take a Scholar. No, they're actually going to get the Persist. Is there a third creature in there? Did I miss that? There's not a third creature, so sure. They're looking to put something in there, I suppose. Maybe something's in hand. Sure, there's Breach. I see. Yeah, they just sequence it in such a way that Breach goes off first. Okay, makes sense. So I'm on Storm the Festival at some point. They find Cavalier Kiora as their choices. 34 cards left in deck, so they're not really going to be expected to deck themselves. I mean, I just need to survive the next few turns, basically. I think I have 2 draws, basically, in order to get myself out of the situation. Alright. We do finally find our Forest. That's going to be the card that I play regardless. Karn might eventually need to minus here. I have 4-5 mana to work with. This Utopia Sprawl now can come down. Karn can minus, get the One Ring possibly. I think the One Ring might have to be my move because I need to find a Cavalier to deal with these Scholars. So I think we go Utopia Sprawl, target the Forest. We actually want to pay like this. Make sure we get the most out of our mana. Choose green. Karn minus here, so that will take away 1 Scholar attack. We're taking 9. It's going to be 2 turn no matter what. I think, yeah, it needs to be One Ring. That gives me an extra turn. So the One Ring is a better play right now. And we can activate at any time with Delighted Halfling. Okay. So we bide our time for one more turn here. And we need to find a Nykthos. We need to find something that gives us more devotion. And we probably also need to find a Kiora. It's going to need to be a Storm the Festival in one of the next 2 to 3 cards that we see. Otherworldly Gaze, sure. Faithful Suiting again. We are setting up more. No more mana left in hand, though. We've seen 1 persist. We've seen 2 persist. I think that's only those 2. Sure. So we go to attacks now. I lose Karn, I think. They actually just passed. That's really interesting. I will take my One Ring then. That's so surprising. I feel like people really miss out on the fact that you can attack a Planeswalker while their controller has protection. So we actually do find Storm the Festival. That is really, really good. But we need to hit well here. We really don't, honestly. Delighted Halfling. Do we want that or a land? I'll take a body. Then we go Shifting Woodland as our land for turn, and then we can still play the Liquimetal Coating. I suppose I'm just taking out a land here. I guess it's a Mana Confluence. We'll strip their land. And then we cannot activate One Ring this turn. We will pass. I had to read One Ring real quick to make sure that they didn't add any sort of text that protected your Planeswalkers. Yeah, so Burial Rites was basically the card that I was worried about. That's why I stripped this turn. So I think we get Multiversed again. 24 cards left to my 36, so they are getting a little bit dangerously close. I think they'll have the mental awareness to not completely mill themselves, but you never know. Sadly, Karn does not really have any access to good mill for us. Another Fanatic. So let's see what's left in deck here. 26 cards. We have dropped 1 Nykthos, 2 Nykthos, so we have 2 more Nykthos sitting in the deck. I do like those odds. They're looking at my graveyard here. Surgical Extraction, I think, is... I actually don't know if it's legal in Historic. Probably not, actually. We see Spark Double in their deck. Yeah, Spark Double taking Scholar. They can mill again. They're going to mill themselves before they mill me. However, if they can mill me completely, then it doesn't matter. And do I see that this is possible yet? No. So it's Breach again, sure. And did they mill another Breach in? Conspiracy Unraveler. That is something that I probably don't want them to have. Yeah, Collect Evidence 10 seems like it'd be kind of nuts in this deck. So 1 more Breach is here. That mills 10 cards. They have 4, I have 16. So all of a sudden I might not be dead. I need to somehow get them to mill another 4. They actually did choose another Scholar. I would be surprised if they cast a final Breach the Multiverse here, because that does kill them. And it does not kill me just yet. The board's getting wide on Burial Rites, sure. And in my Karn board, I cannot make target player draw any cards, unfortunately. Oh, but the Outcast Trailblazer is going to kill them. Oh my god. Alright, wow. Well, that was a weird situation. I think we got kind of lucky because they didn't realize that the Outcast was going to trigger. So we will take that. That works for us. I kind of think that they were just being fun, which is always nice for content, but you know. Anyway, that will bring us through round 4. We have one final round here. I would like to get one more strong combo with this deck. I feel like we've been somewhat unlucky so far. Alright, last round. Let's go. Opening hand, 2 lands. One is a Nykthos. Fanatic is going to be our ramp card. If the Outcaster Trailblazer can come down, then that means that Fanatic of Veronis turns into a good mana dork. So we do have our way of getting to Storm the Festival. Let's see what our opponent's playing. And they just passed back. So we have Birds of Paradise here. We'll drop the Fanatic first, of course. And with an untapped land, this is actually a really good next turn. Blue-white control, potentially. Ooh, Soul Partition is tough. Shifting Woodland, good to see that. I think we just get the Outcaster Trailblazer going. Now, if I play it currently, then this goes around Counter Magic and I get a Birds of Paradise out, so that's huge. Choose green, Birds of Paradise. We have 4 mana here. 1 untapped land gets us Cavalier. Otherwise, we just replay Fanatic of Wrennis, hope to be set up for a following turn. Alright, so that's an untapped land here. We do have a Cavalier, however, likely to be countered here. Let's attack for 4 first. I mean, no targeted removal, it seems like, so this must be counter magic. We'll play a creature spell just to make sure that any counter non-creature spell don't work. And somehow this goes through. What is going on? Didn't even hold priority, so what do they have in their hand? They pass back. What is going on? Okay, so we have 4. I mean, we have enough to Cavalier and do something else. I can go Fanatic into Storm the Festival. I can't Storm the Festival and do something, but I could Karn Cavalier. Alright, we start with Cavalier. I am so confused. Nykthos, beautiful. Cool. This is actually just Storm the Festival mana anyway. I completely lost here. I don't know what cards they had in their hand, but none of them seem to do anything. I am going to get another game for round 5 part 2 here, because what the heck was that? Hopefully Q's quick. I haven't been waiting too long tonight. There we go, 10 seconds, that'll do. And we are back in, let's go. So this hand, again a 1-lander, not a huge fan of those ones, but you know, technically this does eventually get us there. We can build a big forest and then Kiora out a Storm the Festival. I mean, you know, it is functional. This is a deck that can do something like that. We want to always produce green. There we are. Let's pass. Ruin Crabbit's Mill, so that's going to be fine potentially for us. No 3rd land here. Probably just Utopia Sprawl, then Delighted Halfling. Alright. We'll be a little slow in getting the Kiora out, but we'll then have 4 mana for Ulvenwald Oddity or Fanatic plus our other draw. We'll mill 6 here. We need to be pretty quick because our deck needs to look at the top 5 quite a lot. Cavaliers are going to not be a great draw for us. Another untapped land. I think in general we're going Kiora here. Minus on the land, submit 1. We are just shy of playing Storm the Festival. I think no Fanatic of Wrennis from the graveyard seems like a good move. So we have a 4/4 now. Get the draw. We don't attack. We are set up for the next turn where Storm the Festival comes down. So this is 3, 4, 5, 9, 13 mana to work with. Outcaster Trailblazer pretty good. I want to avoid drawing too many cards though, so we'll start with Storm the Festival, I think. Hopefully this resolves. Let's send it. Only 1 blue mana there. They're holding priority here. They do let it pass. I do have to think about this Cavalier of Thorns. Because we find Nykthos, I think I will choose it. But I am worried about decking myself eventually. Shifting Woodland, sure. So we are 30 cards in graveyard now. Draw. So I'm going to make mana with this first. I can go Ulvenwald Oddity, Outcaster Trailblazer. I just need to make sure that I can make 10 mana, which I should be able to after this. So we'll go Trailblazer. It's likely we need to set up for a next turn play, but we might not have to. We find a Storm the Festival here, that's huge. Is Storm the Festival worth doing now? I think it is because we have exactly 8 mana to work with, and we can then go back with Nykthos again. This can theoretically produce more devotion than an Ulvenwald Oddity. It will not. So we'd like to have the Birds of Paradise. So then we untap here, we go Nykthos, and this will be just enough for another Storm the Festival. Okay, so not terrible. Then the following turn we can just Ulvenwald Oddity and attack all in. Karn pretty good here, and then Trailblazer. I don't want to deck myself like what happened in one of the previous rounds. We already have one on the battlefield and 29 cards in deck. I'm going to start being a little bit more safe about this. We'll take a Boseiju. No, we'll take a Birds of Paradise because we're about to try to go wide. And then basically from Karn, we go get Liquid Metal Coating, and because they're being mean and trying to mill us, we be mean and we take out their lands. So we'll move on to Diamond Tier 3 here to round out the video. Things ended up turning out pretty well here. We did get to do some big mana things with the Devotion deck. Pretty much this thing just continues to be a cornerstone of the Historic format. You see it in Timeless too sometimes, but I don't really think that it's up to the power level. Historic seems to be a pretty good home for this deck. Really did like seeing some of the new changes to this thing. Outcaster Trailblazer has been quite a lot of fun. It's nice playing with Fanatic of Ronus as well, and it's cool to see Birds of Paradise out as a flying blocker. So pretty good upgrades to the deck. I think that it makes it a pretty solid Historic play for you. Would definitely be worth the crafts. It is so much fun making big mana. With that being said, that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, that's more or less it. I'll see you in the next one.